Hi everyone, welcome back into Primetime TV. We are back and we are excited about our show today. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marville-Kelly, and my husband, best friend, partner, and all of the above.
How about that? That's quite an introduction.
Dennis Kelly, and he's also known as Doc here at the studio. I think that's cute. And after yesterday, you, with the outfit you had on, you looked like Don Johnson with that Miami Vice shirt.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do that on purpose.
I know.
But I tell everybody, my wife dresses me funny.
Oh, no. You got a lot of compliments. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. Did you have a wonderful Mother's Day? I certainly did. We had a blast last night, didn't we?
We sure did. I've never seen so many people smiling and laughing. That's quite an exciting evening and day.
Yeah, it was kind of like a small gathering. There was about 10 of us. Went to Bonefish, had a lovely meal, and it was just so delightful. Just so much love and laughter, and they were slammed yesterday. Good thing we had those reservations that John put through for us, so it was nice.
I wasn't surprised, though. I think people are just doing more of that to get away from all the garbage that's going on TV. And
That's right. That's right. Yes, it was very nice. So I hope you all had a great Mother's Day. It means a lot to me being a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, as you.
You sure are a great-grandmother.
Yeah, I know. And I forgot to post my husband, what was it, Saturday evening, it was Mother's Day Eve. We were just, hanging out and getting ready for Mother's Day the next day. And I just put up the video on my phone, and I said, so here we are. We were just hanging out in the kitchen and on the island in the kitchen, and asked my husband, so here we are, it's Mother's Day Eve, what do you think? And he said the most beautiful words about Mother's Day and my raising my family and things like that. Thank you. That was just really
you're
sweet.
welcome.
To put that, well, you know what? I'll put that up. I haven't even had time to post our pictures. We have a whole lot of pictures. And my goofball, cross-eyed grandson, he was just, he was in his element. We hadn't seen one another in gosh, it was a little while, with sickness here, sickness there, no time here, no time there, but we all made the time yesterday. So we're going to do that even more. So welcome back in. Today is a special day as well because it's part of the month of May, which is, from what I understand, Mental Health Month. And if you've looked at any of the statistics, and I have to say the statistics have increased, I should say, after the last couple of years, and you know what they are. I don't even want to give it the energy, but you know what the last couple of years have been. And so my husband and I are approaching this very coyly, in a fragile way, because mental health is something that affects a number of people, and whatever you are doing, or maybe you know someone that is in that state of mind, and for whatever reason, we send out prayers and blessings to all of you so that you can get some sort of resolve and peace with it. And we feel that there's so many things that can lead up to that, and sometimes we never know when or if it could hit us, whether we could be one of them. And I think everyone is open and prey to that. Pray meaning P-R-E-Y. What do you think about it? Mental Health Month for the month of May.
I think it's good to be thinking in those terms because our mental health is a lot more important as how long we live and how type of life we have. And as a result, when you're making those adjustments and you're looking at people having fun, you release good hormones. You don't even have to be involved in the fun. You can, as long as you're sitting there watching people have fun, you release certain hormones that are very healthy and are very, very, how would I say it, anti-negative. They're very positive. If you see somebody doing an act of kindness to someone, that act of kindness is raising the immune system of the person watching. And that's proven. That's not conjecture. So when you think about that, then the most important word in the English language is thought. The next most important is the the three names that you give when you were in a pitch. Thoughts are things. In other words, that'll get you out of, say, a gloomy day or you're negative about something. Just remember, thoughts are things.
Okay, so let's just hang on this for a minute. You say this many times in our shows, and I'm sure some of you have tuned into our episodes. We've been doing, we're past 200 episodes now. We've been doing these shows for almost 8 years, and in spite of what the last couple of years looked like, so we had a small little hiatus, but we're back bigger and better than before. So what we're doing in this year and moving forward is we're taking some of the things that has worked in our lives while we continue to look for other solutions in a number of ways. And when my husband talks about thoughts are things, this is so important because once we give ourselves, we can choose what we think. Do you agree?
Absolutely. There's so much proof now that it's beyond conjecture.
So when we choose how we're thinking, I'm guessing that we want to choose the right thinking or our thinking will be stinking, right?
Zig Ziglar, God rest his soul in peace,
Yes.
came out with that one I'll never forget.
Yes, yes. And you know, when we are actually focused to have the thoughts that are going in and out of our head, and believe me, with all the concept changes in a day's time, there's so many thoughts. I wonder how many thoughts actually go through a person's head and brain a day. Do you know?
Yeah, a lot of research. Shad Helmstetter wrote several books, The Choice and so on. He said, and with research that was verified, that we think about 65,000 words a day, and what I found out from that is by controlling, knowing that those 65,000 words you're thinking, you want to have good thinking. You want to have thoughts that are conducive to raising your level of intelligence, your emotional intelligence, which is more important than your regular intelligence. Everybody puts their thoughts on the importance of IQ. IQ is not the main thing. It's your EQ, your emotional intelligence. Einstein said the most powerful force in the universe is imagination. That all fits in with the thoughts are things, and that the fact that you are aware of what you're thinking, that's the second law of attraction, is thoughts can be controlled.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're mentioning that, and we're kind of hanging out here for just a few minutes because this is so important, as that is the first thing that is greeted to us when we wake up in the morning. Well, how do we feel, right? What are we thinking? Do we want to think, oh, my back aches, I didn't sleep right last night, and I know it's just going to be a bad day. Listen to my voice and my energy. Rather than, okay, thank you, God, for another day. My feet are hitting the floor. I'm ready to go. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I kid you not, that is how I wake up most mornings. Don't I? And I'm real happy about that. Controlling our thoughts is so important. And we also feel that when you have a strong foundation of faith, it's much easier to go into a positive thinking mode. Does that make sense to anybody? If so, raise your hand, even though I can't see it. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. When you follow success, it's one of the prerequisites. Can't even say it.
It's okay. You're just as excited as I am.
I know. Sometimes when I get excited and want to say something with enthusiasm, because it's an important thing, sometimes that tongue gets caught in my eye too.
I know. Oh, I know the feeling. Perfection is only a direction, Doc, remember?
That's right. And you, the one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to overplay your hand, is try to work so hard to be successful, so hard to be happy, that you lose the flow of it.
That's
It has
right.
to be a natural thing. People go around the world looking for the secret of happiness. They don't realize it's in their own backyard.
Absolutely, it is right here. And we can all tap into that. And we're going to, as many of you know, if you've watched our shows before, you see our favorite four-letter word always somewhere, whether I'm wearing it in my heart, over my heart, or we have this as a subliminal message. And of course, this is in Corinthians. And if you have a Bible handy, which I hope you do, you can look that up. Because love is truly a game changer for everyone if you allow it. We were conceived, we were born into love, and we use our show here at We Beam TV in Gulfview Square Mall, Newport Richey, Florida. Newport Richey or Port Richey, I forget which. And we're just so honored to still be doing these shows so that we can deliver a message for those of you that maybe are growth seekers and you're looking for whatever it is that's going to make you happy or peaceful or give you a break from whatever's going on in your life. And I always try to share a day with what it's like, or at least a morning and what it's like in our household. And I'll share it with you because I know we have new viewers that tune in all the time. I'm not saying you should do what I do. We get people asking us all the time at age, I almost said 37. I almost said 37.
Probably, when you look in the mirror, you probably feel you are 37.
At age 73, yeah, I do feel 37, and
Yeah,
you
take a few words here or there.
And you 84. We feel like the opposite of that age, and it's really pretty much by the way we live. Our belief system, we believe in a very strong foundation of faith. And I just realized last week that God truly does have a sense of humor. I'll save that little story for another time. But when you have God in your heart, God is here to really help fulfill your dreams and your prayers, even when you don't even expect it. But if you have that divinity in your heart, that's our Holy Spirit. And we do have those choices. And there was times many years ago, and it was at kind of a low ebb in my personal life, and I'd wake up in the morning and there'd be something negative that maybe I'd see a bug crawling up the wall, and I'd go, well, Barbara, that's going to set the tone for your day. No, it's not. It was a bug crawling up on the wall. Right? But what could I replace that comment with was just let it go and either catch the bug and do away with it, throw it outside, whatever. It's the choice of our words, and we're going to recommend a book that changed both of our lives when my husband and I didn't even know one another, and he mentioned it earlier. Chad Helmstetter, look him up on Amazon, get his book called The Choices. We still have our book. It's yellowed in pages. That's how old it is. And Chad Helmstetter is an amazing human being. And then the next book we're going to be talking in just a little bit. And we're not trying to sell it or make any kind of profits off of it. We are sharing with you our exact lifestyle program. And as lifetime influencers, this is what our purpose is. We know what our purpose is. We are being used as a vessel, and I am shamelessly here to continue to promote all of that. My husband has been on death's door between 3 and 4 times in the last 2.5 years. God keeps sending him back to me. Thank God I want him back, because we're on a mission here. We are on a mission right here and now to make the difference in one person's life. Even one person out there that's tuning into our show. Maybe there'll be something that we said, or maybe our attitude and our positivity and all that. And let me tell you something. Don't think for 1 minute it's 100% of the time. We slip too, don't we?
Absolutely.
Our vibration can drop, but it's how we pick ourselves up, how we get with the prayer and get those prayers answered. And they are answered in ways that you will never, ever believe. Just try it if you haven't been, because it works, doesn't it, champ?
It is about as foolproof once you get into it as anything that you could ever imagine. For example, all I have to do is change your thinking in one area, and it can help many other areas. For example, if you just take the word problem, everybody's got problems. I got problems, you got problems. You see, that limits us to problems. However, if you change the word problem to challenge,
Yes, sir.
there's that form of excitement in it. You got a challenge. When you wake up in the morning, what do you say? Do you say to yourself, oh, what problems am I going to face today? And what am I going to do about this? Instead of saying, what challenges am I going to face today? Your body gives you then what we call the good hormones of fight or flight, rather than the weak and bad hormones of conceding to the outside problems that really are challenges if you just change your thinking. And that can be so important for someone's success, just changing that one word. Then you can work your way up the ladder to where you have 4 or 5 of those cliches, and your life then challenges anything and any obstacle. Like Barb said, that I've been on deathbed several times in the last couple of years, and I looked at those things as challenges, and every time I came back a little bit stronger.
Little? Are you kidding me?
And the biggest shock of my life is when the doctor about 13 years ago, diagnosed me with Parkinson's disease. Now, that is not a life sentence. That is something the Lord is trying to tell you that you need to change or need to go into as far as the seriousness of our thinking. And when you change the word challenge, you cut all the bad hormones out of the body, you actually throw them out the window and out the door, and you put in good hormones that are challenging in a positive way. It takes practice. It's like anything else. You just can't flip on a switch. Well, probably some people can, but it takes a lot of practice and on little simple mundane things. Practice getting up in the morning and say, okay, now what exciting challenges am I going to have today? All of a sudden the body goes to work calling upon your soldier cells to go through the lymph system and bloodstream and find out if there's any challenges that you can work into your repertoire or your time that day. And your body and mind will come up with some challenges, but it's fun when you overcome them. What you want to do is reach a state they call imperturbability, where nothing floats your boat. You can have a bad day and probably get a few negative hormones in your body, but when you go back to the challenge thing, those bad hormones are gone quicker than you think.
That's right. I haven't heard that word imperturbability in a while. So thanks for bringing that up again, because that's a strong word.
One of my favorite words, imperturbability.
Exactly. And that goes back to thoughts are things, and you think about that word, which is something that I can't even give the definition. All I know is it's a good thing. It's a good word.
Words are powerful.
Yeah,
words
exactly.
are very, very powerful.
And that word describes what we do. We look for solutions and don't look at them as problems. It's like, excuse me, we need a new air conditioner, right? If you've purchased a new one, you know the costs involved, right? So I tested myself out last week, and you know how I get if, it needs to be flushed or whatever, and it was going down, and I thought, nope, I'm not going to go down the bunny hole and be negative. It's air conditioning, okay? We will get through this. Lord, I'm handing this over to you right now. I'm done with thinking about it. Called Feral AC. They came right out, and it wasn't as bad as it could have been, right? We could have had to absolutely get a new one like right then and there. And so you even commented, because I just sprayed myself with water until they got there. They took care of a repair on it. Thank you, Jesus, right? And we went on our merry way and still have the air conditioner very, very strong. And it's these little things that are really, could be big things, right? And the worst thing that I have found is going down the bunny hole, which you just don't need to do. Once we learn the skill sets to just get back into our head, but first we want to go to the master brain, and that master brain is right here in the heart. And if you've ever tuned into any of our shows, we shamelessly promote living a heart-centered life and feeling the pulse of our heart that has that brain that gives us the answers up here every single time, 100% of the time. I personally will guarantee it. I know you will guarantee it. Heart Math Institute will guarantee it, that if you live a heart-centered, a heart-empowered life, and we add a strong foundation of faith, you will find that your life will absolutely change for the better. And you'll notice this and this and this, and you'll have these aha moments like we do, like, okay, I know that was you. And just like last week when we got the news about the kids, thank you, that they managed to get their date to move into their home. And I just had to chuckle because I was like rearranging our guest room. I said, you guys can come here. My children will not be homeless. I'm sure you're aware of the real estate market, which is absolutely insanity. It really is. It's insanity right now. And Jason texted me and he said, don't rearrange anything, Madre. And I didn't get the text, so he called me. And I was personally disappointed because, of course, I want to open up my home to my kids if they need, that's what families are supposed to do, for heaven's sakes. But I tell you, a couple of days later, I thought, God really does have a sense of humor. It was like a God gotcha moment at that time. And that's the first time I ever thought like that. And anyway, it was just it was a fun happening, especially Mother's Day week. But going back to words are things, thoughts are things, it's so very powerful. And if you just well, let's go back a little bit on how we manage to do this. Okay, living a heart-centered experience, living from the heart, will force you to make the decisions that are right decisions. And it took me a little while, 26 years ago, when you went to the mountains, became certified as a Heart Math Peak Performance coach, and you used me as a test case to see. Well, I kind of had I wasn't used to that. Well, is it my head decision or is it my heart decision? And I call it also, way back many years ago, if you ever get a gut feeling, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely.
If you have a gut feeling, that's your heart talking and your gut talking and communicating, and then it goes to the head. I'm going to let you explain this because this is real important if you want to make change. If you are looking for change, where do we go? We have to rely on ourselves to look for those answers. At least that's how we feel. And when you went to the mountains, you learned that through, you were there for like a whole week.
Right. And well, actually, I went twice. Once for the regular program, and then the more advanced course.
That's right. And boy, you were really full of the information when you came home and was telling me about that. And it took me a little time to adjust. It didn't take long because I knew what that gut feeling was. I knew. But Heart Math puts a name to it. And we're going to, a little bit later on in the show here in this hour, we're going to give you some tips. And later on, we're going to show you a video that will be very powerful. You can get the information on your own, and it is complimentary, thanks to Heart Math and, of course, Doc and I.
Well, they discovered that the heart has 60 times more bioelectrical energy than the brain. It vibrates at 5,000 hertz more than the brain. As a result, if you can stay in that vibratory, right. If you can stay within that realm, you'd be surprised how many wonderful things can happen. Goal setting and finding a time in your life that you can sit and relax a couple times a day or once a day at least, and just think of how lucky you are to be who you are. And just think about the pleasant things. That's a form of meditation that really works wonders. And also going to the heart. When you go to the heart with good, true feelings of love and appreciation and so on, you, like I say, create a lot of hormones that help your body become more successful when whatever you're doing, healthier than whatever you're doing, and so on. So it's a matter of knowing knowledge that can get you somewhere good rather than knowledge that you think you know that isn't geared with anything that you have that has a meaning. You have to place a meaning to the thoughts. Just for example, if you're in a negative situation and you really can't figure out a way out, just go back in time thinking, have a time that you go back to that makes you feel good, and switch. It's called freeze frame. I learned that from HeartMath back in 1972 when my life was going through some turmoil. I got the book, The Freeze Frame book by Doc Childra, and they were working on research that would blow your mind as far as positive feeling and positive thinking and so on. It really took it to a whole nother level. So when you are in a negative situation, freeze frame it. In other words, if you're thinking that, well, I don't have enough money to pay the rent, oh my gosh, and you're trying to really get yourself in control because it's so powerful when you can't pay your rent, just like anything else. In other words, if at that point you start thinking about a couple things that really make you feel good when you think about it. Think about the time when you did have the rent paid and you're really enjoying your home or whatever, and just focus on that. You'd be surprised how the problems turn into challenges and change your life dramatically. One last thing I want to mention about that, and then I want to give you some...
No, keep going. I love hearing this. This is good.
When I was a young man, I won't get into the story of my life. That we'll do it another time. That I know some of you would just say that's impossible. But it's not impossible. Any form of success is improbable. And you can do it if you think to it in a positive way. So one thing that is important to know, just like I mentioned, your thoughts are things. And what you're thinking, you're bringing into your life. So guard the thoughts with all your love and feeling, because that is going to make the major difference. The problem is we put so much thought on IQ, how smart are we, how much knowledge can I amass, rather than on that thoughts, wondering in your mind, how can you make yourself think even better than you're thinking?
You know, and you really can, and it does take practice, like anything. The old saying goes, practice makes perfect, right? And even though perfection is only a direction that you always say, but it's a goal to look forward to. And I know that there's so many of us that have had to really take a step back after the last couple of years, and many people that have never been stuck at home 24/7. Oh my goodness. We passed the test though, big time, didn't we?
Absolutely.
We often said, you know you're with the right person, and I say this every now and again, if you're stranded on an island and you're stark naked and all you have are the palm trees and the animals around you, you better be able to have a conversation. And if you can't have a conversation, believe me, you know you're with the right person. In fact, we have such really great conversation that sometimes we get excited and we're both talking at the same time because we can't wait to get out what we want to say. And as life influencers, as life coaches that we have been for a good little while, we're still learning. Don't kid yourself, we're still learning, right? Life is because we have been dished so many different things in the last few years, even from a personal level. Then you add on top of that all of the things that are going around the world with dis-ease and things like that. Fortunately, we've really ramped up and have taken good care of ourselves for many, many years with building our immune system and all. So we came through that pretty darn good, and we're here to share what we've been doing. And sometimes we're probably a little redundant, say the same thing over and over, but sometimes you have to do that in order for it to take root in your soul, so you can remember it. And when you're driving along and somebody gives you a rude sign or somebody cuts you off, and I hear more and more and more of that all of the time, and right away you just want to get upset. And you taught me this many years ago, and you said, you know what? That person's doing the best they can with what they've got to work with. Isn't that better than turning around and giving a rude sign back? Just to, two wrongs don't make a right. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
There was a big thing on the news about road rage and how it's up. I mean, it is dangerously very up and out there, and I think
it's not getting any better. Unfortunately, people are under such stress. They can't pay the bills. There's so many things going on that detract us from the successful things in life. I just want to mention, going back in time in my life, there were several things that changed my life dramatically, because when I was a young teenager, I was lousy at sports. I went out for sports, but I played 3 years of basketball, never made a basket. 3 years of football, never made a touchdown. And I tell you, it was disheartening. When I'd come home from school, my father would say, "You're not but a bum. You need to go out and get a job so you can do this and do that." So anyway, I had a bad environment, and I went across a couple things that changed my life. I won't get into those things, but I'll just tell you how powerful the philosophies that we're talking about, and slowly will divulge a lot of those profits of success rather than doom. For example, when I got into martial arts, I did it to lose weight and change my self-image. I wanted to be proud of myself. And I did it to lose weight at first, but then I noticed that besides losing the weight, I was thinking and feeling much better about myself. Then when I decided to tell everybody I was going to compete in a martial art fighting contest, so to speak, and in the martial arts, and the interesting thing is, it changed my life so much dramatically that when I made some goals, people say, "Oh, that's impossible," because they remember me as I was. And one goal I made was, I want to be able to win a first place at Henry Cho's tournament in 1976. I want to compete, and I'm going to win that. Well, that's the biggest tournament in the world, and the best fighters in the world come from all over. So anyway, I trained for that particular match, that particular bout. There's thousands of people watching it, and hundreds of people competing at one time in different rings in Madison Square Garden in the basement. And then when you win and go to the finals, you go up to the upstairs to the boxing ring, the same ring that Muhammad Ali fought in. So my goal was to beat the best at New York at Madison Square Garden. And guess what? People started laughing at me because I was not the best at the martial arts when I first got into it. They laughed at me and said, "You're crazy, you have to win a couple local tournaments." And I went and entered a couple local tournaments. Didn't do so well, but what it did, it showed me what I needed to work on. So what I did is I pictured myself winning the Madison Square Garden, holding the trophy up when they presented me the trophy in the boxing ring. And of course I was laughed at by my employees and so on. To make a long story short, I not only won at Madison Square Garden in 1976, I went back in 77, won that, went back in 78 and won that. And I retired from fighting at that point. And then eventually in the future, I came back out of retirement. But I won 3 tournaments that were the hardest tournaments in the world, and people didn't laugh at me anymore.
Can I just ask you something?
What?
What are the odds for you to go and move forward and win your 6th world title at age 78 in the midst of Parkinson's disease? What are the odds of that?
Probably 1,000,000 to 1, because like I say, I was laughable. I wasn't very good at it at first, but I was so determined to prove my coach wrong, because my coach made fun of me, and to prove my stepfather wrong, and some of the people that laughed at me with my goals, because I made the big goals. And by the way, I made almost every single goal. There's only one goal that I haven't made yet, and I'm working on it, and I'm going to make it, is what?
Getting your movie done.
I want to have a movie so I can touch the hearts of men, women, and children with what I was taught and trained on. Anybody can use, so simple. And some of it's been kept secrets over the period of the years. And people, when they talk of something as a secret, then it seems to be phony. But there are certain secrets, because when you teach and train people, if they don't follow what you're training, they're not following the secrets. It's no longer a secret anymore. So anyway, that's just a way of playing with words. The secrets of success by many, many great masters have been followed through Norman Vincent Peale, Schwartz, Hamstetter, you name it. There's many, many, and they all have basically the same ideas. So, I know you want to say something here.
Well, Rob, our producer, put up the race. The race with the horse that had 80 to 1 odds, and won the race. You won the race with what you said, 1,000,000 to 1. Most people would think that. So it's not only a metaphor, but it's a true story, that horse that won. What was his name, Rob? Because we missed it. We were just out and about. We missed it. Shame on us. We always watch the races. But yeah, so if you missed it too, go watch that race. It'll blow your mind, and watch it over and over again. To me, that's inspiration. But I do want to go to the video, because what you're talking about, secrets, they may appear to be secrets to us, to others, that they just always want to know, what are we doing? What does our lifestyle look like? The food that we eat. What do we do for holistic and in prevention? And that's why we're here doing this show today, because it is Mental Health Month, and we want to try to give a few tips to maybe help prevent going down that road. And we don't have the answers. We're not here to claim or treat or cure anyone from any kind of a disease out there. But if we can give you a few little tidbits that make sense to you, why not? So we are going to share a video with you. We want you to sign up if you can, and if you will promise to take the time for it, because it's complimentary, by HeartMath Institute. They did this just before COVID, or I think it was in the beginning of COVID, to help people get through this. And actually, I loved it so much in the beginning. It was $29.95, and I paid the $29.95 because I wanted all those PDFs. I have it in my good old-fashioned loose leaf binder. So we're going to have Rob go to that video right now, and then just take a look. It's kind of like a trailer, and then it shows where you can sign up. So I'm going to be quiet, and we're going to go watch the video. We'll be right back.
Can you hear me? Can you feel me? This is a story about your life, and about new ways to see that we are all connected.
Just like electricity changed the outer world, heart's going to change the inner world.
We can take charge of how we feel more than we may think.
It allows me to be present, centered, and focused.
I just find that deeper place in myself where I can feel that sense of love.
And as more people come together, it's going to draw in a whole new awareness.
But the heart really is an access point to our larger self that can bring in that intelligence of another dimension. So now we're starting to have a scientific understanding that these higher quality emotions that people have always associated with the heart really do affect the way the heart beats and the quality of the neural signals being sent to the brain, which it then interprets.
Heart and brain are in constant communication. The heart is doing most of the talking. Let's do an exercise now to get a better sense of how you're experiencing emotions that renew or drain you.
Okay. I'd like you to think of a specific situation that you feel has been difficult to solve these past few days.
In this experience, through learning simple techniques, seeing real-life examples, and hearing from experts and others, you will have the opportunity to experience your heart's intelligence and how it can help you, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll see how you can connect with your heart in practical ways to reduce the stress of daily life, meet challenges with more ease, and become more of who you truly are.
You'll learn to listen to and follow the magnificent, intuitive presence of your heart.
It's heart time on the planet.
So what do you think about that? The heart math experience is quite an experience. And you know what we love about the heart math is that it's for everyone and anyone that is a growth seeker and that just wants to live a better life, live a life that's full and vibrant and you feel alive, right? And we tested the children's program out because we're licensed through Heart Math with the children's program called Heart Smart Adventures for Kids. And remember when I tested that out on my grandson JD on February 14th, 2020. He was only, 6 going on 7 at the time. And that was in the beginning of the health challenge that we had. And I had to homeschool him. And I thought, this is a perfect time for us to test him out on it. And, you know, he's so smart. He's got such a high IQ. He's just busy. He has the attention span of a gnat. And I thought, if he gives me 5 minutes with this application, I'll be so happy. So he gave me 5 minutes. He was on his pad, and he was watching it and observing. He looks up at me, looks back, looks up at me again, looks back. Do you know that child gave me 35 minutes? And it was all about how to manage your emotions at a child's level. And it all comes from love. Something as simple and as profound as love. Love is the healing emotion. We talk about that. You can't have two opposing emotions at the same time. You can't feel love and hate, right? You can't feel forgiveness and unforgiveness at the same time. So that's why God has us planted right here, right now, to share some of the things of Heart Math. And I know when you came back the first time, I was like a sponge or like a kid in a candy store and just wanting to get more and more information. And it made so much sense to me that I decided to delve in a bit deeper and get more knowledge, because we know that our children are the future. They are the future, and I say it over and over again. So it's up to our generations to help feed them the positive energy. Watch their self-talk as well. There's so much bullying going on out in the world, and there's just so many different things that can be done as long as we come from love in making the right decision. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Making the right decisions, and that can be quite a challenge for anyone, because nobody really has all the answers, and so we have to kind of figure that out. But if you go to the Heart Math Institute website, you will be able to navigate there and get all kinds of wonderful information. They do have complimentary information where you can get downloads on different PDFs. We have every single book. If you came to our villa, you would find shelf after shelf and training and certification programs, wall plaques and all of that from Heart Math Institute. And I'll tell you what, this is the honest to God's truth. Right by our chair, we have those books. And I have them in a place that if we ever had to evacuate, up comes the heart math training. Because we know we will be teaching that
She's not kidding.
in a
She
shelter
would.
somewhere. And you never know. We came close to having to evacuate. And then, this was a few years ago, we couldn't get out of Florida. So we just stayed put. And we were safe. We sat and prayed and just everything went fine. But I know that we're coming near to the end of our show. We've got about 11 minutes or so. But I wanted to turn this back over to you and also to just do a little bit of a recap to let you know where we're at if you're just tuning in. And this show is archived. I think it's, what number is it, Rob? What episode are we today? I know it's over 216. 216.
Wow, that's
This is episode 216, and we've been
hard
doing
to-
the. I
hard to
know.
believe and conceptualize.
I know, and we're so blessed and grateful to be able to have this platform. But going back to the beginning of the show, just to recap a little bit, we were talking about being it's heart. It's well, I want to say heart month, but it's always heart month, every single day, every single month. But it is mental health month, the month of May, and we thought, gee, well, we went to our heart and decided, let's talk about this. Sometimes we decide what we're going to do the day of the show. And we go with the times and see what we can do to share with you to help just make a difference in your lives, no matter what it is. So we were talking about the power of the words that we say. The thoughts are things, that it starts with thoughts. And once we learn how to live a heart-centered, a heart-empowered lifestyle, all of a sudden you begin to feel the heartbeat, the pulse of how we can make changes in our lives right like that. You get started. That's the biggest thing. Don't you find, hon, is taking the first step. Oh, I want to lose weight. I got to take the first step. That means I got to go and do food planning and all of that, and talk about talking to yourself. That's when we really need to talk to ourselves, especially when we go to reach for that cookie for a snack and we look at it and go, this isn't good for me. I'm putting it back. Right?
Right.
Self-talk, boy, when it comes to diet and losing weight and being healthier for ourselves.
Well, there's a time in my life that made a definite change, come to a fork in the road, and it was like the tipping point. The decisions I made then changed my life to where I am right now. I'm the happiest I've ever been, believe it or not, in spite of the fact that I have bouts with Parkinson's disease, but the thing is, it has helped me in more ways than one. For example, when I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, I said, God, why me? I mean, I take care of myself. I do this, I do that. Then I thought to myself, God, why not me? Because that would give me a platform. If I can do things that I did without Parkinson's disease, and I believe I can, then I can change the lives of many people rather than just one person here and there, thousands of people. So that's what has been my trail of performance, is trying to get to that point. Well, right now, all I have to worry about is people may feel uncomfortable around if I have tremors or whatever. But the beautiful part about it is I'm happier than I was before I had Parkinson's disease, because it's allowed me to search my soul and realize that life is much more precious than I even gave it credit for being. And now at this point, it's really making a change with me and my family, because people look and say, well, if you get through that, I guess I can get through anything. And that's the message I want to give. If I can do this, if I can win those world titles, if I can do what Shad Helmstetter said, talk positive through the whole day in a way that you fall into working on bringing that feeling from the heart. So anyway, that's my story.
It was very well expressed and to the point and very authentic. And I appreciate that. And I hope you'll take that to heart, what my husband just said, because I live with this man, and I'm telling you, I swear I'm married to a saint sometimes. He never gets mad, never once loses his temper. And if I do something or whatever, or slam some dishes in the dishwasher and they make too much noise or whatever, you know what I get? I get the dad look. Or if I say something that, didn't make sense or whatever, he gives me this dad look, and I love it, and I love you for that. But we are here to help and, give back any way we possibly can. And if you want more information, it doesn't matter. We are both on Facebook, Barbara and Marville-Kelly, and Dennis Kelly. We're both on Facebook. You can check out my husband's website at dennis-kelly.com or mine at barbaramarville.com. And we're updating those websites and bringing them current with what we're doing today, because they have not been done that way in a while. And we're just going to be continuing on helping you with different things that we've been doing. I did make a commitment the beginning of the year. I decided that I needed to get back to a chiropractor. And I prayed about it, and Dr. Todd Bedanza came into my thought process and my heart process. And I committed for 3 months, as you know, during the week, several times during the week. And I just had my x-rays done not too long ago. And the significance, it was a significant change in the bones in my spine. And I had all the way from 1 through 7 at the top, which is right here at the neck. That can contribute to various things. And again, we never ever claim to treat or cure any diseases. But the reason why I'm mentioning this to you is when I first started feeling a difference, and I think this is working again, because I've been a chiropractic patient for many, many years and lost my chiropractor that I was going to before. And I have to tell you, Dr. Bedanza is right over here in Trinity, has made such a difference. He's a no-nonsense guy. You're in and out of there in less than 5 minutes with your adjustment, and I always feel better. There was a few times where I was wondering, I got a little pain here, a little pain there, but it's going over the process and coming back to being healthy again, to have a healthy spine, and how that can affect our mental health, being that this is Mental Health Month. So I am very thankful for Dr. Bedanza, and I'm still going to him, and we're going to get my husband going as well. And tune in next Monday, because Dr. Bedanza is going to be coming on the show. We're going to be talking about the principles, the concepts of chiropractic, why it works, how it works. And I just want to give a testimonial because I feel so much better. I'm walking better, and it's just amazing. And that's really part of a couple of things that I want to share before we close the show. We only have 4 minutes remaining. But and chime in if you have anything. I think you're going to agree with me. One of the biggest things that I have found for myself, believe me, I forget to take my vitamins. Believe me, I don't take enough time for exercising the way I probably should or could. Okay? So hold that thought. One big word that is part of our Living the Martial Way program, we did a couple of shows on that with our martial artist friends, where we go to the dojo, which, by the way, we're there tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. and Thursday at 6:30 a.m.
Thanks for reminding me.
Discipline. The biggest word ever is discipline. If you have to write it down, that's what I'm doing now. I'm writing everything down, and I am doing a proper checklist, and I'm doing way better just because, let's face it, we all have things that cause us to forget this, forget that. It doesn't necessarily mean age. It could be because we have so many things going on in our life. So write it down. How many times do I ask you to write things down? All day long I'm doing that because of your, the short-term memory loss due to side effects from medications, right? So we go through the day reminding each other what we need to do and what we're doing. Okay, what's the next exciting thing we can do to help ourselves live the last chapter in our lives, living it, feeling alive and vibrant, and being able to do things and still go out dancing, and we can exercise. And I'm so glad that we're back at the dojo. I surprised myself. My punches were pretty darn good, weren't they?
Absolutely.
So do you have something else? To me, discipline is one word. Come from love, no matter what you do in life, and pray. How about you? We got less than 2 minutes. Can you do that in 2 minutes?
Well, I guess I can. Well, life is like a circle. And when we approach that circle, it can either be that we want to success. We want to meet success with successful thoughts. And you keep each day, every hour, just ask yourself, take a minute, how do I feel? Not so much what am I thinking, but how do I feel? That way your thinking gets genuine to really how you feel. And if you don't feel good, then there's something isn't in alignment. So ask yourself, what is it that is keeping me from feeling good? And then correct that situation. And correct it with something, in other words, replace it. Like, for example, if you have a dove sitting on a fence post and you want to change that into a lion, you take the dove away and place the lion there. The thing is what you want to do is you want to be able to create the change in your favor. And if you do that, no matter what situation happens to come along, you will not end up with bad hormones because of negative thinking. It's really negative feeling. Thinking can be counterproductive.
Absolutely, it can be counterproductive. And we do have that ability to change those thoughts. And sometimes we just might need somebody to say, you know what, it's going to be okay. And just try this, try that, and just see how it works out for you. And when things aren't working out, you know what? Eventually they will.
They call it segment intending.
And it's time for us to say our goodbyes here in another few seconds. I want to thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for tuning in. Get a hold of us through Facebook. We'll be happy to work with you. Thanks, take care, and God bless everyone. Bye-bye now.